Hello and welcome once again to A River Between Chaos and Zen, the poetry podcast from Creative Actors Lab. My name is Max, and Kelly, as always, sends her love. Been wanting to get into this poet for a little while now for a few reasons. Rumi, actually. Aside from the fact that I started reading Rumi just years ago, here and there. And just was always just taken by his poetry. To me, it just seems magical. But and there's just a great romance to it, and just a great mysticism and all of that, and I just love it dearly. I've been meaning to do this author for a while. This Rumi goes back to about the 1200s, a Persian poet from about the 1200s, and the thing about this is Rumi had a very dear friend by the name of Shams. Get more into this as we go. But I'm reading here from a thing. If you have not checked out the Gutenberg Project on the internet, and if you're any kind of a book nerd, you need to go to the Gutenberg Project. It's just all these old books that are in the public domain. They've been out of print for freaking decades, if not centuries. And I happened to come across this particular book. It's called The Persian Mystics, Jalaluddin Rumi. If I mispronounce anything during the course of this, please keep in mind it's because I am absolutely no scholar, and I'm a perpetual student, especially when it comes to things like poetry. And I thank you for taking this opportunity to hang out with me and learn some stuff with me. But I wanted to share this. This actually, just for the record, the book is The Persian Mystics, Jalaluddin Rumi, by F. Hadlin Davis, author of, and I love this title, In the Valley of Stars There is a Tower of Silence, Wisdom of the East, the Persian Mystics. This particular version was from London and published in 1920 by John Murray, Abel Marley Street West in 1920. One of the first quotes it says here, "Our journey is to the Rose Garden of Union." This is some pretty sexual. It can be. But it's greatly passionate, and it could be put towards, shall we say, physical love. But the Rumi was a great poet, and he was a mystic, and but he had this very dear friend, and then we come to the part of this. He says, all right, this says it better than I can. Rumi's friend was Shamsi Tabriz. And in the book it says, a word must now be said about Shamsi Tabriz, an intimate friend of Jalal. We have sufficient evidence to prove that Shamsi Tabriz, Jalal's nom de guerre, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm guessing a pen name, or was an actual person and not a mythical creation on the part of the poet. This mysterious being, who also flitted across Jalal's life so tragically, seems to have had great personal influence over the poet, who went with him into solitary places and there discussed profound mysteries. The scholars of Jalal looked upon the whole affair as an unworthy infatuation on the part of the master, and on the part of Shams, a shameful seduction. It's been sort of like tossed around back and forth over the course of time. It's been speculated that these two men were lovers, but someone else comes along and says not necessarily. It has been within their culture at the time, a man could feel that sort of deep love for another man, and it not be physical, it not be a, a sexual thing. And it's just, there was just a very deep, profound love between these two men who shared many mysteries. And the thing also that I did want to say is, okay, pardon me while I digress for a second. Last, I guess, August or September, Kelly and Amber, our oldest daughter, were taking a walk in the park, and I get a phone call, and I get we found a little kitten out here, and she's little and tiny, and she was hiding in the bushes, and she's nowhere, and she has no one else around her, and she's squeaking, and she's pleading, and she looks hungry, and and I just went, oh, fuck it. You know how we are about animals. And I said to Kelly, just bring her home. You know that let's don't even, let's don't even discuss anything. You know where we're going to wind up with this. We're going to wind up with another cat. And we got her home, and she was this little teeny tiny thing. She's this gray and white cat. And according to Kelly, when she came in the door, they brought in this little, tiny, little, squeaky, little, adorable little kitten, this gray and white kitten, and Kelly keeps saying how, I was wearing a gray shirt at the time, and of course I had the gray hair and the beard and all that, and pretty much as soon as Kelly brought her through the door, I was like, oh, give her to me, oh, come here, oh, and she just like climbed up my shoulder, and long story short, she's become my third daughter, and she sleeps with me every night, either on my chest, under my arm, and between my legs. She rides around on my shoulder. I feed her off of my plate. All the things that non-animal lovers will look at me and shake their fingers and shake their heads at me and go, "What is wrong with that boy?" But pretty much we decided, okay, we're gonna keep her. And at the time, there was a movie going around called K-pop Demon Hunters, and one of the characters in one of the main characters was named Rumi. And so Amber has got a particular talent for naming animals, and she had been in the house for a couple of hours, and she was like climbing on me, and she fell asleep on me, and all these other cutesy pie, other little precious kitten things that you could do. And said, what do you want to name her? And Amber goes, Rumi. And I was like, okay, I know you got that from K-pop Demon Hunters. And it's in, the character of Rumi is just a really cool character and everything, and but at that point I said, okay, I think I am going to be the Shams to her Rumi. So, on that note, I'm just going to cherry pick various assorted things across this book. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. One thing says, the face of Shamsi-Din, Tabriz's glory is the sun, in whose track the cloud-like hearts are moving. O Shamsi Tabriz, beauty and glory of the horizons, what king is but a beggar of thee with heart and soul? And if you'd just like to chill out for a minute and wax romantic with me, whether you're in love with cats or your best friend, of which he's kind of a little bit of both. It's called This is called Selections from the Divani Shamsi Tabriz. This one is called A Cry to the Beloved. Yester eve I delivered to a star tidings for thee. Present, I said, my service to that moon-like form. I bowed, I said, bear that service to the sun who maketh hard rocks gold by his burning. I bared my breast, I showed it the wounds. Give news of me, I said, to the beloved whose drink is blood. I rocked to and fro that the child my heart might become still. A child sleeps when one sways the cradle. Give my heart babe milk, relieve us from its weeping, O thou that helpest every moment 100 helpless like me. The heart's home, first to last, is thy city of union. How wilt thou keep in exile this heart forlorn? I've not planned any of this, so the price of the fair, a garden, may its rose be in flower to resurrection, an idol, may the two worlds be scattered or his beauty. The prince of the fair goes proudly forth to chase at morning. May our hearts fall a prey to the arrow of his glance. From his eye, what messages are passing continually to mine? May my eyes be gladdened and filled with intoxication by his message. Morality and immorality. What a bride is in the soul, by the reflection of her face. May the world be freshened and colored like the hands of the newly married. Look not on the fleshy cheek which corrupts and decays. Look on the spiritual cheek. May it be sweet and agreeable. The dark body resembles a raven. The body's world winter. Oh, in spite of these two unpleasants, may there be eternal spring. Thou art the soul of the world. Eternal life, methinks, is a time of union, because time for me hath no place there. Life is the vessels, union the clear draught in them. Without thee, what does the pain of these vessels avail me? I had 20,000 desires ere this. In passion for him, not even care of my safety remained. By the help of his grace, I am become safe, because the unseen King saith to me, thou art the soul of the world. The beauty and the beloved. O beloved, spiritual beauty is very fair and glorious, but thine own beauty and loveliness is another thing. O thou who art years describing spirit, show one quality that is equal to his essence. Light waxes in the eye at the imagination of him, but in the presence of his union it is dimmed. I stand open-mouthed in veneration of that beauty. God is most great, is on my heart's lips every moment. The heart hath gotten an eye constant in desire of thee. Oh, how that desire feeds heart and eye. 'Tis slave caressing, thy love is practice. Elsewhere is the heart worthy of that love. Every heart that has slept one night in thy air is like radiant day. The house of love. This is the Lord of heaven who resembles Venus and the moon. This is the house of love which has no bound or end. Like a mirror, the soul has received thy image in its heart. The tip of thy curl has sunk into my heart like a comb, for as much as the women cut their hands in Joseph's presence. Come to me, O soul, for the beloved is in the midst. The moon, soul, and the sea. At the morning tide a moon appeared in the sky and descended from the sky and gazed on me. Like a falcon which snatches a bird at the time of hunting, that moon snatched me up and coursed over the sky. When I looked at myself, I saw myself no more, because in that moon my body became my grace, even as soul. When I traveled in soul, I saw not save the moon, till the secret of the eternal theophany was revealed. The 9 spheres of heaven were all merged in that moon. The vessel of my being was completely hidden in that sea. The sea broke into waves, and again wisdom rose and cast abroad a voice. So that it happened, and thus it befell, foamed at the sea, and at every foam fleck. Something took figure, and something was bodied forth. Every foam fleck of body which received a sign from the sea melted straightway and turned spirit in this ocean. Aspiration. Haste, haste, for we too, O soul, are coming for this world of severance to that world of union. How long shall we, like children in this earthly sphere, fill our laps with dust and stones and sherds? Let us give up the earth and fly heavenwards. Let us flee from childhood to the banquet of men. Behold how the earthly frame has entrapped thee. Rend the sack and raise thy head clear. This is love. This is love, to fly heavenward, to rend every instant 100 veils, the first moment to renounce life, the last step to feel without feet, to regard this world as invisible, not to see what appears to oneself. O heart, I said, may it bless thee to have entered the circle of lovers, to look beyond the range of the eye, to penetrate the windings of the bosom. Whence did this breath come to thee, O my soul? Whence this throbbing, O my heart? The return of the beloved. Always at night returns the beloved. Do not eat opium tonight. Close your mouth against food, that you may taste the sweetness of the mouth. Lo, the cupbearer is no tyrant, and in his assembly there is a circle. Come into the circle, be seated. How long will you regard the revolution of time? Why, when God's earth is so wide, have you fallen asleep in a prison? Avoid entangled thoughts, that you may see the explanation of paradise. Refrain from speaking, that you may win speech hereafter. Abandon life in the world, that you may behold the life of the world. This one is called Thou Didst Go to the Rose Garden. At last thou hast departed and gone to the unseen. 'Tis marvellous by what way thou wentest from the world. Thou didst strongly shake thy wings and feathers, and having broken thy cage, didst take to the air and journey towards the world of the soul. Thou wert a favourite falcon, kept in captivity by an old woman. When thou heardest the falcon drum, thou didst fly away into the void. Thou wert a lovelorn nightingale among owls. The scent of a rose garden reached thee, and thou didst go to the rose garden. This is called The World Gave Thee False Clues. The world gave thee false clues like a ghoul. Thou tookest no heed of the clue, but wentest to that which is without a clue. Since thou art now the sun, why dost thou wear a tiara? Why seek a girdle, since thou art gone from the middle? I have heard that thou art gazing with distorted eyes upon thy soul. Why dost thou gaze on thy soul, since thou art gone to the soul of soul? O heart, what a wondrous bird art thou, that in chase of divine rewards thou didst fly with 2 wings to the spear point like a shield. The rose flees from autumn, oh, what a fearless rose art thou, who didst go loitering along in the presence of the autumn wind, falling like rain from heaven upon the roof of the terrestrial world. Thou didst run in every direction till thou didst escape my conduit. Be silent and free from the pain of speech. Do not slumber, since thou hast taken refuge with so loving a friend. This son of a bitch is going to make me cry, you know. The road be thine towards the shrine. O honored guest in love's high feast, O bird of the angel sphere, 'tis cause to weep. If thou wilt keep thy habitation here, a voice at morn to thee is born, God whispers to the soul, if on the way the dust thou lay, thou soon wilt gain a goal. The road be thine towards a shrine, and though in bush and briar, the many slain of love and pain and flower of young desire, who on the track fell wounded back and saw not, ere the end, a ray of bliss, a touch, a kiss, a token of the friend. And just skipping around here, this is one. The source of light rather than vanishing form. And 1 camera battery pack change later, part 2. This is called The Source of Love and Light rather than vanishing form. Whatsoever is perceived by sense he annuls, but he establishes that which is hidden from the senses. The lover's love is visible, his beloved hidden. The friend is absent, the distraction he causes present. Renounce these affections for outward forms. Love depends not on outward form or face. Whatever is beloved is not a mere empty form, whether your beloved be of the earth or heaven, whether it is whatever is the form you have fallen in love with. Why do you forsake it in the moment life leaves it? The form is still there, whence then this disgust at it? Oh, lover, consider well what is really your beloved. If a thing perceived by outward senses that is beloved, then all who retain their senses must still love it. And since love increases constantly, how can constancy fail while form abides? But the truth is, the sun's beams strike the wall, and the wall only reflects that borrowed light. Why give your heart to mere stones, O simpleton? Go, seek the source of light, which shineth alway. This is one I just catches my eye. This is called Pain is a Treasure. and I've not read this, so let's see what we got here. Pain is a treasure, for it contains mercies. The kernel is soft when the rind is scraped off. O brother, the place of darkness and cold is the fountain of life and the cup of ecstasy. So also is endurance of pain and sickness and disease, for from abasement proceeds exaltation. The spring seasons are hidden in the autumns, and the autumns are charged with springs. And I guess that one caught my eye particularly because whereas I am, I'll just digress for a moment, just whereas I am so grateful that I have the good health and the very strong constitution that I do, and the very strong genealogy and hereditary strength, and the good old German and Celtic toughness, and but I've had a lot of injuries. I've had a lot of, I mean, some sports related, some I got in martial arts, some I got on a job related injuries, but I've had like a shoulder injury, I've had a really bad knee injury, at one point I had a really bad ankle injury, this and that. I mean, it comes with leading an active life, and just being a very physically in tune person. It just happens, and I just that particular one, Pain is a Treasure, just caught my eye because it's like I've had these things where it's like I've had to do a lot of pain management, and I've never taken opioids for them. I've never done anything like that for it. But when you have to spend very protracted periods of time in physical pain, and you've got to get on with your life and get to work and tote that barge and lift that bale and pay your bills, and pretty much suck it up, buttercup. I remember hearing some things from Buddhist writers and just different philosophers about how the point of pain is that if you intend it to be, if you persevere with this intention, pain and suffering can teach compassion like no other. And I actually have a tattoo on. Just, do you think I've got a few of them, but actually I've got a whole bunch of them. But I have one in particular, and it's actually a sword with angel wings, and it says, "Suffering teaches compassion," and that is the way that I have for years. It's like I'm not gonna, I will be goddamned if I'm going to become a bitter son of a bitch. I'm going to learn something from this. I'm going to go stronger from it, and I'm going to gain some wisdom. And that is not a course of life for the faint-hearted. But as I look back, and I've certainly had enough injuries, and I don't want any more. But I'm actually very grateful, not for the injuries themselves, but for me hearing that particular philosophy, that suffering teaches compassion, at a time when I was sort of faced with am I going to be a miserable son of a bitch or not? And I prefer not. So that Pain is a Treasure just caught my eye. There's actually the yogi, the philosopher, the writer, Ram Dass, actually did speak quite a bit about pain and the compassionate way to deal with it. So, but I digress. Let me just read you guys a couple of more, And this is one called Destroy Not Earthly Beauty, It Beautifies the Soul. Tear not thy plumage off, it cannot be replaced. Disfigure not thy face in wantonness, O fair one. That face which is bright as a forenoon sun, to disfigure it were a grievous sin. 'Twere paganism to mar such a face as thine. The moon itself would weep to lose sight of it. Ah! Knowest thou not the beauty of thine own face, quick to temper that leads thee to war with thyself? It is the claws of thine own foolish thoughts that in spite wound the face of thy quiet soul. Know such thoughts to be claws fraught with poison, which score deep wounds on the face of thy soul. And what the ear has told you falsely. What ear has told you falsely, I will tell you truly. Then ear too will acquire the properties of an eye. Your ears, now worthless as woe, will become gems. Yea, your whole body will become a mirror. It will be as an eye of a bright gem in your bosom. First, the hearing of the ear enables you to form ideas, then these ideas guide you to the beloved. Strive then to increase the number of these ideas, that they may guide you, like Menjun, to the beloved. The wisdom of the week. Oh friends, God has given me inspiration. Oftentimes strong counsel is suggested to the weak. The wit taught by God to the bee is withheld from the lion and the wild ass. It fills its cells with liquid sweets, for God opens the door of this knowledge to it. The skill taught by God to the silkworm is a learning beyond the reach of the elephant. The earthly Adam was taught God's name so that his glory reached the seventh heaven. He laid low the name and fame of the angels, yet blind indeed are they whom God dooms to doubt. And the saint and the hypocrite. Watch the face of each one, regard it well. It may be by serving thou wilt recognize truth's face. As there are many demons with men's faces, it is wrong to join hand with every one. When the fowler sounds his decoy whistle, that the birds may be beguiled by that snare, the birds hear that call, simulating a bird's call, and descending from the air find net and knife. So vile the hypocrites steal the language of dervishes, in order to beguile the simple with their trickery. The words of the righteous are light and heat, the words of evil, treachery and shamelessness. They make stuffed lions to scare the simple. They give the title of Muhammad to false Musalanamia. But Musalanamia retained the name of liar, and Muhammad that of sublimest of beings. That wine of God the righteous yields a perfume of musk. The other wine, the evil, is reserved for penalties and pains. Love more than sorrow and joy. Come then, O Lord, who art exalted above description and explanation. It is possible for the bodily eye to behold thee? can mind of man conceive thy frowns and thy smiles, and hearts, when bewitched by thy smiles and frowns, in a fit state to see the vision of thyself? When our hearts are bewitched by thy smiles and frowns, can we gain life from these two alternating states? The fertile garden of love, as it is boundless, contains other fruits besides sorrow and joy. The true lover is exalted above these two states. He is fresh and green independently of autumn or spring. Pay tithe on thy beauty, O beauteous one, and tell forth the tale of the beloved every whit. And I want to finish. This is actually the last piece here. I'm going to close with this. And as I was going, I usually get up very early and I read a lot of this stuff. And this morning, actually, when I was going through this, having my first cup of coffee, I saw this one. It's called "All Religions Are One." In the adorations and benedictions of righteous men, the praises of all the prophets are kneaded together. All their praises are mingled into one stream. All the vessels are emptied into one ewer. Because he that is praised is in fact only one. In this respect, all religions are only one religion, because all praises are directed towards God's light. These various forms and figures are borrowed from it. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed that. And it's with all my love I bring this episode to a conclusion. Be well, and thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me in my romanticism and my artistry and my weirdness, and thank you for listening, and thank you. May the long-time sunshine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Until next time, I bid you peace.